Rescheduled it.
I think we sent out an email, did a Facebook post,
I didn't
updated
see
the
it either, but I heard
website.
about it.
We did when we did the last when we sent out the email that we canceled. It
I
was
think it
also
did say.
in there that we were rescheduling.
Because I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well, we can check to make sure that you're getting the emails.
Yeah, because I don't think I got one that said you were canceled either, so.
Next month is going to be March 10th. So,
Yes.
I have to update the website for that.
We're moving it up a week.
Yeah, because I'm traveling. So this is AccuQuilt month 2, and we are making, I don't know what to call this. This is like a triangle and a square.
That's what I thought.
Oh, I got it early. That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. I was
Like,
like, I can't believe I missed a whole month.
I don't remember.
Yeah. So
So I'm a month ahead.
month 2, yeah, and triangle and a square. There's a lot of them.
There is.
So both of you have cut these before, but I want to show you how I did it. Did you bring anything for show and tell?
Yeah. I made I'm making a placemat. And I had to add strips to it, and I thought I cut it 2.5, and I only cut it 1.5.
So you're gonna have a 1-inch border on it.
Yeah. And I don't know whether I should put this on the stripe because it's wide enough for a placemat.
Yeah.
It's just not, it wasn't
Yeah.
this way. But it's close to 13 inches by 18 right now.
Well, if you used the same fabric to bind it, I think it would be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I bought that fabric here, so if I need more, I can get more. And the other one is, I made a wall. Sorry, I blocked you
Oh,
out.
that's okay.
It's just that,
Oh, cute.
and I put a sleeve on it. I have a metal frame that I put on my wall, and so I just played with it. I had some extra springy looking fabrics.
Pretty colors.
And then this is just a table runner, and it's the Hunter Star.
Nice.
That's nice. So that was fun. Mom has a friend that loves yellow and blue, so I thought I'd do one in yellow and blue.
Kind of that French decor.
Yeah, yeah. So that's it. Other than this is one of my corners. That's the colors I'm using: blues and reds. There's a little bit of red in this one, and then there's more red in the center. They turned out really good. I
Yeah.
was real happy.
Did you take
I took out the other
the
two.
other two? Okay.
I didn't take them completely out until I feel like I need to. I just took the strips off.
Yes. Took the strips apart.
Yeah.
So
You know, I just unstitched them here and unstitched them here.
they'll be going the opposite way.
Okay.
So they'll be going.
So will the strips, I mean, I can cut these apart if I need to. It's not a big deal.
So this one
This-
is my show and tell.
Yeah.
This is what we're making,
Nice.
except bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So with yours,
These are
So-
the other corners. They might be
you
okay.
might. No.
I mean, if I need to take them all apart, I will.
Right, because,
It's not.
yeah. Because you're going to need to make rows like this.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't do it until I felt like I had to. And it's only 4 pieces that needs to be done.
So, let me put this out there because I know other club members will
Yeah.
think about it. So, do not sew ahead on this quilt.
Okay. I learned
Okay.
my lesson.
So, the reason for that is when we piece this, we're going to be piecing in rows diagonally.
Yeah.
So, and in the end, we'll have 2 big pieces to sew together.
Okay.
So,
They go different directions.
yes. And when we get to the month 5, I'll talk about what I did here on the edge to stabilize this quilt. But I think it's going to be a pretty quilt. So
beautiful.
So
are you doing those colors?
I'm doing the
yep,
kit.
she's
Okay.
doing the kit. So same kit as the bigger one. And both of you got patterns, right?
She doesn't.
No,
Okay.
thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so we've all cut this shape out, and it's no problem. You're just fan folding over the die. It's this one that throws us off. So the way that I cut this, and we need, this is die number 13, and we need to make 8 of these. Let me get a map. So we need to make 8 of these. So the way that I found that's easiest, I usually take my width of fabric, I fold it over like this. If you don't fold it over, I think you can get one more out of this down here, but we're only doing 8, so fold it over, keep your salvage out of your cut, and then you're going to lay it across this way, across the die.
That won't mess with the salvage? Because where's your tape on the die? Is it at your belly?
Yeah.
So
Shouldn't you?
shouldn't your fabric be going this way?
Yeah,
Okay.
but we're just going to rotate it. So the key thing is the salvage always has to, or the straight grain always has to be going through the machine. So right now all I'm doing is just placing it on my die,
Okay.
and then when I get ready to cut, let's put the mat on, I'm just going to spin it. So the tape at your belly that she's talking about is a thing that AccuQuilt does. As long as you're sending the straight grain through the cutter, you will be fine. Okay?
And it doesn't matter on...
Doesn't matter on piecing. So, and actually, so when you pick these up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all you're going to do is rotate your die
Go upside down.
and go upside down, and you're going to line up with that cut edge. So that's 4. And
It's
8.
a new technique. I mean, I've always flipped it like that, but I've always kept the straight grain the other way.
Yeah, so the straight grain on this is vertically with the block. And so what that does, because the way that I tell you to cut these, this one, this is die number 14. Let's cut this. And we need 5.5 inch strips. So I did a quick press over this, so nothing real fancy, just quick press, and I'm just going to cut my 5.5 inch strip. So the way that you're going to layer these across this die is like this, right? Like this. So your straight grain on this block, on the entire block, is vertical. So your straight grain on this one runs this way. Here, let me just cut these out and so we can. Does that make sense?
I know, it's different from what we've always done, so.
Well, this is how I've always taught to cut the.
I'm not sure I cut mine that way, but what happens if you cut it? I mean, they went together really good.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the grain is right on them or not. I guess I could tell you some of the pieces that I cut and put together.
Did you measure your block? Measure your block after you cut.
Mm-mm.
So your straight grain is on this straight edge. This is the outside edge of your block. So.
I mean, I've always. Here's one.
So I think what a lot of videos might.
Edge.
Yeah. So you cut it the same way.
Yeah, but that selvage is what's confusing because I think I went this way with it and folded it.
So you went like
where the strip is. Yeah.
No, she's got the strip in her left hand.
Well, it's if the marker is on closer to her.
the label.
The
The label is right here.
So I put the selvage right there. So it's going through this way.
So AccuQuilt tells you to do that in your videos.
Yeah.
I find that you use more fabric if you cut
Like that.
this way.
Yeah, I just make sure I've got the right, width
Yeah.
to cover it.
Me too.
Right.
So that's how
It should
you
only
cut
be
it.
about, what, 2.5
Quarter.
3
inches.
Yeah, I forget what I was, 2 3/4 or something.
Right. So if you cut this way, you have the straight grain on the outside of your block, which is what we want. And you can get 28 pieces from the 5.5 inch strip. So if you're cutting it, I think it's 3.5.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so you would be cutting at least a 3.5 inch strip, and it is 5. So we'll say 5.25. So, and I'm doing this math in my head. So you would get from a 40-inch piece of fabric, you would get 20 pieces. That's 3.5. So from a 6.5 or a 7-inch piece of fabric, you're getting 40 pieces. From the 5.5, I mean, so the math works just a little bit different. You'd have to go really far out to find your equal point.
But what I'm asking is, if you do it that other way, I mean, I have lots of extra fabric.
Mm-hmm.
Your edges are fine.
Yeah.
That's what I'm concerned about, is making sure all of my edges are going to be okay from here on, because I don't want to have to go back and cut all these.
So it just depends on how, so if you send it through, so if you cut it like this.
Always keep it at my belly, like they say,
Right.
So, and put it through.
Okay, so the reason that they're telling you to do that is to remind you to do the straight grain.
Okay.
So
it is going through the machine that way.
right.
Yeah.
So if you're putting it this way,
Just cut takes a little bit
and
more fabric.
you're lining up your selvage, so sometimes people just get really confused, and that's an easy way to remember. But it uses a little more fabric on some of the other dyes, like this one. So when we sell you kits like this is a lot of fabric to buy. It's a big quilt, but it's a lot of fabric. So I go this way because it works. All of your straight grain is going in the same direction.
True.
So,
Okay.
it's just a different, if you want to do it the way the AccuQuilt says,
Well, I did so
Yeah.
far. But
my cutting instructions are for
that method.
this method where you're
Are we going to be doing that any other month? That type of method?
this, where it's different from what AccuQuilt says.
Mhm.
You know, I haven't really watched
know.
the AccuQuilt videos, so I don't really go and
Okay.
try to find what their video says and you know, am I doing something different? Am I teaching something different?
Yeah.
You know,
As long as the straight grain is going through the machine, you just have to
Well,
remember
by
that.
doing it that method, then the label goes in first. The label goes in.
no. Yeah.
Sideways.
So, no, it goes in sideways. So, you're going to cut 5.5 inch strips. So, from this fabric and then all of the other pieces that are
In that.
using
Yeah.
die number 14, you're going to cut 5.5 inch strips.
Okay.
You're going to layer it long ways across your fabric. Not like this,
Right.
right? You won't have enough fabric. So, like this. And so when I do this, you should be able to get 28 pieces. And then what you'll have, well,
But your label's going in the machine first, right?
no, label's right. Yes,
It's still at your.
yeah. So yeah, your label is going in the machine first.
That's easy to remember. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how many other people are doing it the way we've done it. Or
Yeah. So
some people
over,
that aren't here.
yeah, that's why we're
Yeah.
shooting the video. It's good that you're asking the questions
Right.
because,
Because that's different than what we were kind of learned how to use it.
well, this is your, how many classes have you come to?
Quite a few.
Quite a few. We must not have done this one.
Probably.
Probably not. That's in this one. But
Yeah. Okay.
so your cutting instructions tell you put it across the die like this.
Okay.
This is your straight grain,
Right.
so it's going to go through the machine like this. Okay.
Got it.
So
Thank you.
you're welcome. And then when your block is all together, same thing on the smaller dies, your straight grain, and this is your stretchy way.
Right.
So over the long term, right? So when we start piecing this, and I don't know if AccuQuilt's thinking about it like this. So if all of our pieces, the stretchy grain is this way, if you've got some seams like, I don't know, let's say a cat jumped on your sewing machine while you were sewing and you got a wonky seam. So if all of your stretchy seams are this way and you've got a block that's maybe just a little bit smaller, because the give is in the rows of the quilt, you're going to be able to work either the fullness or stretch and make those seams line up. Does that make sense? So that's just one of the reasons why I try to line up my salvages, or not my salvages, line up my straight grain vertically when I'm piecing a quilt, so that when I piece the rows, I can make my seams give or stretch so that my joins will line up. And even still, like this small, it was kind of still hard to do, but
They look pretty good.
yeah, not bad. But I
So
did
that's
this.
the full quilt only with the smaller die?
That's with the 4-inch cube. I'm really digging the 4-inch cube.
Yeah.
I've got a nut, I showed you, right? The pineapple, or not, the log cabin.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the logs made. Do you want to see it? Another
Yeah.
show and tell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, right back.
You bet.
This looks like the kind of block that I have to use a lot of glue. I never use glue.
No. I think on the 4-inch, it would be, she even talked about serging the seams on that 4-inch. To put it together.
What kind do you have?
Okay, so this is what the quilts will eventually look like. So I did it in 2 sizes with the 8-inch cube. This is 98 by 98. It's a huge quilt.
Wow.
But that's the stars.
Yeah.
And then
It's beautiful.
these are
Oh,
the
nice.
Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
I love the colors.
waving
Prints.
flags.
Log cabin?
Yeah, it is a log cabin.
Huh.
Yeah, isn't that neat?
And so there's
That
48.
would be a great wall hanging.
Yeah, this will be 50 inches by 50 inches.
Look at the difference in the tumbler,
Yeah.
and it just is a whole different look.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So much movement.
So
Wavy flags.
making a 3-inch block. Let me measure that. 3-inch block with the 4-inch cube.
Huh.
I wish they'd have named it the 2-inch cube. I've said this over and over. I wish that they would have named it 2, 4, 6
Yeah.
instead of 4, 8, and 12 because I'm
Yeah,
making a
that's a
3-inch block with the 4-inch cube.
That's weird.
So
And that's the 1.5-inch strip.
the
It would
the
be.
corner, this
Yeah.
is the 1-inch strip
Okay.
die.
But those, is that the 1.5-inch?
Yeah, I just cut them with the die though,
Yeah.
because it has the 4 on there, and I needed
Oh, okay.
192
Oh,
4-inch squares, and the math was easier to do on the on the die than it was to go. Okay, I can get 5, yeah, and then
Oh, I see, because they're piece,
Yeah.
little half square.
So these are there's only 48.
solids.
Yeah, so there's only 48 of this block, and we will have this pattern. We're not going to do this in the club. We've already done a demo lecture on the
Look.
log cabin, but eventually the pattern will be for sale. So,
Okay.
and we'll have
When you do a small, like that size, do you still use a 1/4-inch seam?
oh, absolutely. Mhm. Yep, 1/4-inch seam. All of the AccuQuilt dies have that. Any more questions? Okay, then we're done for the day. You've got a lot of blocks to sell.
They were.
Yeah, the next months are not bad.
Okay.
So,
I should be done here in about probably 10, 15 minutes.
but
Thank you.
you're welcome. Yeah, it's a different way to do the cutting than what they say.
Yeah.
They're doing it for, it's like high school math.
Simplicity for people.
Some people, so when you have like a class, right? So there are
Right.
people in like the bell curve, right? So they're doing maybe like on just the upslope
3rd grade level.
of the
That we hear, right?
the
Mhm.
curve, right? So that they can get the majority of the people, right? So if they're teaching the first 30%, the second 60% will absolutely know what to do. So if they're saying, oh, label to my belly every time, put the salvage on the label, that's really hard to mess up, right? But, you look at, we're not online anymore.